Hey there, are you a traveler? This video is for you only if you are a traveler, but what I mean here is a special kind of traveler. A traveler inside the human being. If you are a person who is curious, who's always been curious about how the human being works, what makes us happy, what makes us sick, what makes us healthy again, then this video is for you. Many years ago, I started writing on a blog, which was called Zen Writings of a Traveler Inside. And there I started to actually kind of journal, mostly for myself. It never really took off because I never really put too much effort into it. I was writing about my own reflections about this journey that I was undertaking, which was about the exploration of the human being. I've dedicated all my life now, and of course I'll continue to understanding the human being, to understanding what makes us work. And by the way, my name is Octavian. I'm a doctor, I'm a psychotherapist, I've been a healer and a practitioner of many alternative healing sciences and traditions, and perhaps the most iconic, the one that really underlines everything that I do and is the one that I practice daily is acupuncture, right? So I've been practicing acupuncture for 25 years now. So why are you watching this video? I've taken all of my experience so far and I've decided that instead of having a one-man or one-person audience with every patient that I have, that I want to bring all of my understanding, all of my experience, all of my accumulated wisdom, which is mostly due to many generations behind me of therapists and accumulated wisdom throughout the ages, mostly Chinese and Oriental teachings, to you guys, if you are seeking for that, right? So basically what I'm doing with this video is to tell you guys that I'm starting a podcast, right? So I'm going to start this podcast on the 8th of April. And what are we going to study in this, right? There are four main realms, four main directions that we're going to address. One is different types of therapies and how to understand them. And I'll talk in this video about this. And then in the following videos, we'll talk about the other three, which are relationships, because our lives really depend on how well we learn to navigate relationships. But then again, relationships are dependent on our own emotional traumas. So how do we do that? How to learn about that and how to improve our lives through better relationships. And then spirituality, because our life needs a meaning, right? I don't refer here to anything religious of the sorts. Whatever your religion, it's going to be compatible with you because it's non-religious. It's just spirituality in the sense of the direction of your life. And then finally, parenting, right? In my experience as a therapist, parenting is the one thing that if you do it wrong, the dynamic of the family shifts that much that it can totally ruin the dynamic in the family, so that everybody will be unhappy, and most likely at some point people will start getting sick, right? I see this all the time, unfortunately, and I've spoken about it so many times on a one-to-one basis that I'm sick of it. I just want to broadcast this, and so I'll reach more people, maybe like you, so that we can learn from each other and learn how to live better lives and do better parenting. Because if parenting is done right, everybody's happy and everybody's needs are met. Anyway, so today we're going to talk about therapies. So maybe you're watching me in this video and maybe you live, I don't know, 50,000 kilometers across the world, right? Okay, whatever. That was just a figure. Maybe I can't be your therapist. But what I aim to do with this podcast is to inspire you, to give you the ideas that can enable you to understand what therapy is good for you, for the affliction that you have, to help you better understand the possible causes of your disease. Maybe you're suffering from some things and you don't know why that is, and maybe you don't know how to address it. Of course, if you don't know the cause, you can't know the treatment. Again, just to understand, I'm not going to prescribe treatments to you. I'm going to lay out some fundamental principles that will enable you to seek out the right therapy and the right therapist for you. But God, is this important? I mean, we're going to talk about the causes of anxiety, depression, panic attacks, many chronic illnesses, because I've been really blessed to have access to a knowledge that I want to give on to you, right? Most of this has its roots in ancient Chinese medicine, right? So that's traditional Chinese medicine plus a lot more modern advances on top that also take into account the emotional and mental and spiritual part. So the traditional Chinese medicine approach is a holistic approach, right, which takes into consideration all sides of the human being, right? That enables us to understand the human being with causal chains of reactions. Like, for example, right, a chronic illness can have a cause in a certain emotion, but that can actually elicit physical symptoms, right? So we're going to talk about this, right? For example, let's say, I don't know, first thing that comes to mind, anxiety, right? Did you know that actually anxiety can ruin your digestion? Maybe you have abdominal problems, maybe you have digestive problems, maybe you have something like, for example, I don't know, gluten intolerance, right? That actually has emotional roots. We're going to talk about this in the podcast. Or, for example, maybe you are aware of these things. Maybe you're aware of the idea that there are emotional roots to some of the symptoms, but one of the phrases that I hear most often is, oh, but I thought I went over that, I processed that, right? Guys, if you process something cognitively, right, rationally, you think about it, you understand the mechanisms of it, you understand the logic of it, that's not healing, right? There's a saying, it was a series on Netflix called The OA. One line really stuck to me, and it went something along the lines of, a truth is not a truth until it lives in the body, right? Now, sciences, medical sciences, like for example acupuncture, enable our understanding of that trauma, emotional trauma, which manifests physically, to be healed at a level where you don't understand it rationally, but you actually feel it, you work through it emotionally, right? It's not enough to understand it, right? So we have the tools, we have the understanding, and I'm going to explain all these to you. This is not a course in which you're going to learn to do acupuncture, let's just be clear. The whole purpose of this is to give you a right understanding, right? So a right understanding of why things may happen to you. And hopefully that will give you the basis for you to understand why there are certain dynamics in your life and what kind of therapy and what kind of therapist you should be looking for. So, I'm going to see you on the 8th of April. We're going to really start an amazing journey together. We're going to talk about the spiritual causes of disease. We're going to talk about how we can heal. We're going to talk about the whole understanding, philosophically speaking, right, of a system that is more than 2 millennia old. But I've taken this system and all the ancient roots of it, and I've blended it with modern understanding. So I bring to this my own understanding based on my psychotherapy years, based on my experience with patients, and based on the, let's say, cutting edge understanding of how our emotions work, both from a Western as well as an Eastern point of view. And I blend it and I bring it to you guys. So, 8th of April, you need to be there if you really want to have a better understanding. I'll see you there.